Welcome to the Live Full, Work Fun podcast. This is the show to encourage you to live your life to the fullest and do fun work that fuels your lifestyle. Hi, I'm your host, Gayla Scrivener. Every week, you'll be introduced to amazing guests, useful resources, and inspirational stories. You'll discover opportunities and perspectives to shape your version of living full and working fun. Hi there, and welcome to the Live Full Work Fun podcast. This season, we're exploring the theme, Don't Let the Start Stop You. It's a powerful reminder that while beginnings can be daunting, they're also the gateway to growth, success, and happiness. Throughout this season, we are discussing how to push through those initial difficulties and take that important first step towards your big goals, even when it feels overwhelming. I'm Gayla Scrivener, joined by my co-host, Fran Attilio.
Hey, Gayla.
We have been chit-chatting already before we hit the record button, and I always love to start my day with you.
Same here, my dear. Best way to start a day.
And you know what I love about you, Fran, is that you have a wonderful way of sharing powerful mindset shifts, and you incorporate that in your strategy meetings, and you're so good at that. And every time we talk, I get this renewed energy. I mean, my personality and what I do with my clients is I dive right into the tactical and systematic side of things. I'm so glad that you work with these mindset shifts. I'm excited about today's topic, what we've decided to talk about. One thing is that what stops people from starting, whatever journey they're on, is perfectionism. And we've all been there, waiting for that perfect moment or that perfect plan, or everything's got to be just so and flawless before we do that thing. Perfectionism is a real roadblock, isn't it?
It really is. It's the biggest one in my mind, and in my journey and in the work that I've been doing, and then in the teaching, the classes I'm taking, and becoming a yoga teacher, this journey that I've been on, I realized that was my biggest obstacle. Perfectionism can not only stop you from starting, it can stop you because you get to this point where you go, oh my gosh, I didn't do that perfectly. Oh, well, I guess I should just give up. Oh, well, I didn't knock this out of the park. And it just stops you in your tracks, and you let this idea of perfectionism. We could go into a whole other episode of where perfectionism comes from, but there is no such thing as the perfect moment or the perfect execution of a plan. In fact, sometimes the messiness is where the real beauty and transformation comes from. You hit an obstacle, and this is where, adapt and flow comes from. You have to look at it and go, what can I do? Instead of looking at it and go, oh, I had an obstacle. I guess I'm no good, or this plan doesn't work. You figure out how to flow around it, over it, through it, under it. And you will come out with an even better place. And the most important thing is that you kept going. And that's what the 10 power words are all about.
Yeah, I love that you came up with 10 quote unquote power words. You've got the P in quotes for power words, but you've got 10 power words that replace perfectionism. And be prepared. All of these power words start with P. I'd love to hear what inspired you to create the list to begin with.
It was my own journey, and about 6 weeks ago from the time of this recording, I was sitting there and I was stuck on a project, and I decided to take a step back and look at what was holding me back. And it was perfectionism. It was my own challenge with perfectionism. I believe in doing the work. That's what being a willingness warrior is all about. There's always work to be done. Life will never get to a point where there's no work to be done. So I took a step back and I said, okay, how do I change my mindset here? And it was interesting. That day, I read a post about progress, not perfection. And it was from a woman. I love all of her books and what she writes. Her name is Brianna Weist. And I went, progress, not perfection. I like that. All of a sudden, I started to brainstorm, and these other words came out. And they were words that I use in whether it be the marketing strategies that I've implemented or my own personal journey. My company's name is 10 Touch. It did not fall lightly on me that I came out with 10 words. It was not, I didn't say, oh, I want 10 words. They were just the ones that poured out that day. And I believe very much in when you are in that moment where you are truly clear and trusting yourself, that inner knowing just comes out. We all have a really powerful inner knowing or intuition that we shut off sometimes or don't listen to because of messages we've received growing up, whether it be society, religion, wherever it may come from. It comes from a million places. There's not one wrong place or one place to blame. When you say, you know what, I'm going to quiet all those messages. What do I feel? What is right with me? And then just like power words with a capital P, knowing with a capital K, I knew these words were the ones that resonated with me to replace perfectionism. And every day I pick one because every day there's different things going on in our lives, right? We say, see the month, plan the week, live the day. One of these words every day helps me live the day. So,
Nice. Yes. Yes. Well, let's dive in to the first word.
yeah. And the first word is progress. And this is it's number one because when you get stuck in perfectionism, and perfectionism can look a lot of different ways. It could be the should haves, want to be somewhere else, wish we were further ahead than we are. Look at have you made progress? A lot of great sayings around this one. Any step is still a step forward. Even a baby step, you're taking a step forward. Even a pause to look at where you need to step next. Progress is where you look at and say, you know what, take a moment and look at what you have accomplished. Sometimes we're so focused on the goal that we don't stop and give ourselves a moment to recognize, acknowledge, and praise ourselves for where we've gotten to. So that's what progress is about. Progress isn't just about what are you going to make progress, but also taking a moment to say, hey, wow, I have done ABC already. Wow, I
Oh,
started here and look where I am now.
I can totally relate. So much I can look at my endless to do list. At the end of the day, if I am focused on everything that's not checked, I just get into this really spiral type of attitude. And then I have, over the years, come to appreciate and focus on those things that have been checked off. Even if some days just blow up, right? And you don't feel productive. But having that appreciation of, well, what progress did happen, it really shifts your whole outlook.
Yeah. And taking
And
a minute to acknowledge yourself. How many times do we acknowledge our teams? Make sure that we say to them, you've done a great job. Do it for yourself. I love what you just said. Look at that list and go, wow, look at the ones I did check off. Even if you only checked off 2 that day, I bet you those 2 were really big or challenging or took a lot of time. Say, wow, I'm proud of myself. Look what I did today. That's part of the progress mind shift,
mhm.
is acknowledge that whether you finished one thing off that list or 100, you still made progress.
Well, this ties into the next word on your list.
Productivity is this one. Just saying it to me feels good. To come out, especially on a day where life is throwing curveballs at us, to come out and still be productive. And in each word, we have different tools that we use and work with. So, productivity, one of my favorite tools, is to have a minimum and maximum time rule. So, if you have big tasks, these are the really important ones that have deadlines and have pressing matters about them. So what we do is I say to myself, okay, my personal productivity rule is 15 minutes minimum, 60 minutes maximum. Meaning on a given day, if I have a lot going on, all of a sudden the world has turned upside down. Minimum, I'm going to put 15 minutes on that project at some point of the day. Just to make sure I touch it. I know what's going on, touch base with my team, even if it's just to check a couple of emails or check in with my team and see what's going on. The hour maximum is because we have a lot of projects going on. So do an hour, see where I land, and see those are the days where I have my whole day ahead of me. And I don't want to get lost in one project. So I'm going to do an hour, see where I land and how close am I to the deadline and how much more has to be done and reevaluate. Productivity can be it's a simple step, but it's exactly what it says, being productive on the task, whether it's a simple touch that day, just even checking your project management system, not letting life stop you from moving forward. We were just talking offline, a great example. I was exhausted yesterday. I had a big task in front of me. I was gentle on myself and I did rest. I did a work from anywhere right in my house, right from my couch. And I still got done what I needed to get done, but at my pace, being gentle with what I had to, with what I was feeling physically. And productivity is just keep moving forward, getting the tasks done in a productive manner.
I love that because I too had an example of what just happened yesterday is that I had blocks of time of what I was going to focus on client work and things like that. And what I had focused on of something that I needed to do for a client, there was a deadline. It needed to happen yesterday. I blocked an hour off for that project, but that project took more time. It actually took 2 hours, maybe a little bit more. It felt so good that I got it done and I didn't have any hanging things over me, but it was done. I really liked that. Now, that meant that I altered my focus time for other things to another day, which is okay because I don't have to come back. So when you're so close to finishing, it's worth just pushing through and doing. Now there was another thing. One thing that I really don't like is email. And that's why I have a team member. Norma is my assistant that helps filter through email. But there's a certain bucket that I need to go through. I strive for, hey, I need to process it and then get it out of my email because I want empty email. I avoid that like the plague. But then last night it was like, it's on my focus time. I'm not going to ignore it. And I'm going to spend only a minimum of, I think, 15 minutes. Well, I got into it and I cleaned up a lot of backlog that I had. And it was great. And it felt very productive to where when I have it again on my focus time, it's not going to be so bad, you
Right.
know?
Yep.
So just getting started on that is like, yeah, I felt very productive, even though all of my checks weren't checked off. What I did do moved the projects forward in a big way.
Productivity is the space where time comes into play and using your time wisely. And what you said, Gayla, was big. Productivity is also a great solution to procrastination. There's actually considered positive and destructive procrastination. Positive procrastination, where you get up, stretch, move, take a walk with your dog, kind of clear the space. Destructive is where you get lost in binge watching television shows when you know you have things to do, or getting lost on social. A great way to check for productivity, just one tip to people, it can be an eye opener. I'm sure people have heard of this, but check your phone for where you spend your time.
Oh, yeah.
It will
The
be
screen time. Yeah.
screen time is can be an eye opener, whether it be email or social media or just screen time, period. We are limitless beings. The potential we all have is unlimited. We can all do amazing things. The only thing we are limited by is time. So, where do you want to spend your time? And if you really want something more or different in life, whether it is personal or professional, productivity is the place to pay attention to and where you're putting your time.
To that effect, also, I use Toggle for more than just tracking client time. I mean, if I want to do some business building or professional development, or even like move my body, or work on Clifford, the big red ambulance, if there's something that I want to move forward on, I will track it in Toggle. Then I can look back and see that, yeah, I did spend time, because so many times I think you lose perspective of how much time you do or don't spend on something. By tracking it, not that it's billable hours or anything like that, it gives a good visual of, oh, I spent this amount of time on personal or professional. So that's a tool that I use. So let's go into the next section.
The next word is permission. And this one has both an internal and external component. Permission is giving yourself the permission to say yes, the permission to say no, the permission to go at it full force, the permission to slow down, whatever it takes. Permission is where we stop the voices in our head that tell us what we're supposed to be doing, and we listen to what's right for us in the moment. Permission is also to the people you work with and around you. Their permission for them to be who they are and stop looking at everyone to be the who we are. Someone once said to me, stop looking at someone like you're looking in the mirror and expect them to think the way you do and act the way you do and work the way you do. So permission is another word, can be grace, but it's permission is giving yourself the right to be imperfect, to be imperfectly perfect, and to be or perfectly imperfect. And permission is really a beautiful tool. This is the moment where you take the pressure off yourself. I feel like productivity and progress are the answer to the anxious thoughts and the worry thoughts, whereas permission is this: I have the right to be me, think like me. You have the right to be who you are and how you feel, however you work. And if you are different in any way than the messages that you've been taught, that's okay. Because guess what? All those messages were wrong if they don't align with who you are.
I
Whoever you,
love that.
yeah,
Yeah.
who you are is right. And that is the one place where it is perfect. If you are in touch with who you are, that is perfection. And knowing
Mm.
that you love and embrace yourself as you are.
Not seeking other people's permission and how they want you to guide your life or what it's really internal permission, internal grace. And that's taken me a long time to feel comfortable in, I guess it's comfortable in your own skin, right?
It really is. It really is. And that is a big one when you are in businesses like ours where you have clients. Any business owner who has customers, clients, residents, whoever they may be, we're not going to resonate with everybody. And we have a certain audience we want to resonate with. So when you don't connect, the permission to say, that's okay. Love and light to you and go your separate ways from that person. And the permission for you to say no to a prospective client because they're not in sync with your values or what you believe. We were talking off camera about you really have to give marketing programs a year trial to get going, right? If someone wants that instant gratification turnaround where they think spending X number of dollars in a paid campaign will get their results in 2 months, they're not our person because we don't believe in magic bullets. There is no magic wand. There is no amount of money. And even if you did spend amount of money, if your message isn't clear in who you are and you don't know yourself, it's not going to resonate or stick.
Well, that ties into the next words,
Yeah. Patience.
patience, because there isn't a magic bullet, no matter what kind of goal. If it's a health and wellness type of goal, you have to have patience. And then the next word on your list kind of goes with that.
Yes.
But whether it's marketing, you can't see results in a snap of a finger. Health and wellness, mindset shifts, anything where, it's not instant gratification.
Mm-hmm. You're right, Gayla. Patience and the next word on the list, persistence, have always gone together. It's actually the root of where I started with my marketing strategies. Patience is if you want long-term established brand, company, corporate messaging, if you want that real long-term growth, then it takes patience. Persistence is its complement. So patience isn't sitting back and waiting for things to happen. Persistence goes alongside patience. So the patience is knowing this is not an overnight thing. It's not an overnight fix, but I'm going to it's one time I use but. I don't love the word but or how about end? It's patience and persistence. The patience that this is the right path and I'm going to put in the work to make whatever goal I want to achieve. And persistence, I'm going to keep at it no matter what I hit. If I hit a really busy season, I don't get done everything I want to get done, I'm going to keep going. Or something I try, whether it be marketing or service or product, doesn't work out exactly how I thought, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to look at it. How can I make it better? How can I make it different? How can I try a different path? So patience and persistence in my mind go hand in hand. They even tie into the next word.
Which is,
Practice. All the words on this list and everything connected to mindset shifts take practice. There is nothing that we do on the journeys that we are on that's one and done. There is no final moment where you get to something and you do all these words perfectly. There's the other, and that is another expectation. Well, if I implement progress and productivity, oh, then I'll get that perfectly soon. No, these words are all a daily practice. Practice is how you shift your mindset. It is just like learning a musical instrument or any other skill. It is putting in the practice, whether it's a big fall away from it, you find yourself spiraling in perfection again, or it's a small bump in the road, you look at it and you go, that's okay. It's okay to not have done it perfectly. We're going to practice and try again. I'm going to learn from this lesson. I'm going to take, instead of having it pull you down, you look at it and you go, what's the wisdom from this lesson that I'm now going to take going forward? Okay, I see where that went off path, and I'm going to remember that for the next time. Practice lifts you up, whereas perfectionism drags you down.
you know what's interesting that came to mind about practice? Even the small habits. I mean, it's the consistency. Practice means that what is it that you're going to be doing on a consistent basis that's a piece of the end result. And you collect those. It's not that, okay, I've got this habit now. I've practiced this and I'm doing this on a consistent basis. Now I'm going to stop that and do this. It's a collection of them, right? It's you're building on these habits to get to the big goal. I think that we forget sometimes. It's like the example of maybe you're taking a supplement like magnesium because you have aches and pains or you're not sleeping well and you're taking magnesium because you're magnesium deficient. That might help with the aches and pains and sleepiness and anxiousness and things like that. You're consistent, you're persistent on taking that, and then you kind of forget because the effects of it is very, very slow. We remember when, man, today I hurt. You remember that. But when you slowly are feeling better, you don't really realize it until you run out of that supplement and stop taking it for a couple of weeks. And then the pain comes back. I think that these small habits you take for granted, and because you don't see the feeling good versus feeling bad, we remember when we feel bad. But when we
Yes.
start seeing that little progress, we don't feel it as much as the pain.
And I love the example here because you gave a perfect example of why these 10 words are together. Taking that moment, so you keep up the practice, you keep doing this, whether it's a health matter or a project, whatever it may be, but you take a moment to stop and look at, wait, take a moment. I have made progress. I've gotten to here. The big issue with perfectionism is that it makes you think there is a magic wand, magic pill, magic something out there that if you just take it, do it, that overnight everything will be fixed. And that's not how it works. 30 days to rock hard abs does not really work. There's no everything for long term. It may work for some in the short term. For true long term success in anything, physical, mindset shift, professional, whatever it may be, it takes work. And don't be afraid of that word. There is beauty. It's empowering when you embrace the work. And that does tie to the next thing, which is knowing why you're doing the work, right? And that some people in business have called mission, vision, values. I call it purpose, promise, and principles because I believe everything, another P word, is personal. Knowing your purpose, your promise, and your principles, both personally and professionally, and they should marry if you own your own business, is really important to facing the issue of perfectionism. Purpose is the what and how you do things. Promise is the why. And the principles, those are your non negotiables. Those are your values. Those are the things that you, as an individual, that bring into your business, whether you are an employee or the business owner, that you carry in there, that the people that you work with and the business deals that you make and whatever you work on, if anyone ever asks you to buckle those principles, that is a no for you.
Your morals, your,
Yes,
you
where you
know,
stand.
hmm
And
I love
everybody
that.
has a different list. My list has a 5. And I know for most of my life, this is where also getting in touch with who you are and knowing yourself. And this, because perfectionism comes from outside messages. For a long time, I thought that and I'm going to work up backwards a little bit here, but I thought my principles were something that people might think too idealistic or naive. And I realized, nope, I'm good. My principles are love, kindness, authenticity, boldness, and integrity. Love and kindness are the top. And I actually am flipping them recently. Kindness is my number one. I live in and create a world now. I can't control the outside world. I can't control what's happening in the government or other countries or on social media. But what I can control is who I surround myself with. And my environment isn't just the home I live in, it's the people I connect with. And kindness is my number one. It's a non negotiable now. It used to bend it. I used to let things happen or be around people that spoke in isms, and I don't like isms. I used to be around people who, the only joking and busting your chops, but in a mean spirited way. No more. And in business, I won't work with people who are either themselves abrasive or unkind, or want to do messaging that's tearing down somebody else. That's not my wheelhouse. So knowing those principles and knowing the things that I want to live by helps me in my business. Promise and purpose, or these three things go together. Your purpose is what you want to do and how you want to do it. And if you have your principles intact, then you know how that will shape out. And promise is your why. Not only why are you doing it for your business or the purpose, but why are you doing it for yourself? And getting in touch with those three, again, whether it is a personal or professional journey, you do need that to know that personally for your professional journey, are really three very critical P's on the power list. It clears up everything. And when you're faced with those perfectionist messages, you can look them and go, nope, sorry, doesn't resonate with me.
That is wonderful, which brings us to our last word in the
Plan.
list.
Plan is,
What?
yes, I know. Everybody's like, wait, I don't like that power word. Plan is just have a plan. We've talked about this on past episodes, and having a plan does not mean it's written in stone. Remember, we're talking about replacing perfectionism, but have a plan.
Short
Have
term, long term.
Yes, just let go of all the different things and how you think you're supposed to write the plan. Now that you know who you are and you've given yourself permission to be who you are, and you're practicing patience and persistence, and you know all these things and you're ready to keep practicing, write down your plan. Whether you follow how, like, the SMART goals thing or any other thing, just write it down. Just write it down. And in your own way, think about what the first steps are.
Yeah, what the first steps are, and then take them. I'm going to interject real quick. With it being a plan, you can have plans in different formats, and
Absolutely.
simple to more business planning, life planning type things. It's not a big thing. Okay, I chunked down a plan for my eating habits. And it was just this week. It's like I have this little board that I put in the kitchen that it's kind of like a dry erase board, but it's not, but it's kind of a cool little thing that, but anyway, it's like I need to eat better. No, we're not eating out this week. We got into the habit of doing that too much. This week, let's plan our food easier. So on this little board, Robert and I planned. It's like, okay, breakfast is this, dinner is this, and what approximately what time. And the decision is all made. And at the end of the day, we erase that thing and then we're thinking, okay, what are we going to eat tomorrow? We got to where it's like, okay, I'm starving and I don't want to cook. I don't want to do this. And it's just that little plan instead of, all right, let's get out of the house and let's go eat somewhere. So we just get the stuff out of the freezer and we're preparing the simple foods or, and that was the simple plan. I wanted to try that for a week. Let's just do that for a week. And then that may be a habit that we do for a little bit longer so that it takes the stress off. We know when we're going to break to be intentional about eating. That may be stupid, but when you're in the mode of working, it doesn't always have to be a work plan. You need to have little life plans.
I agree. And don't focus on the perfect plan. Just start. Plans evolve on their own. They breathe their own life because you'll start one and you'll start to see, oh, wait, I got to put that chunk in there. Oh, wait, I got to put this. And I love what you said, where some plans change every day.
Yeah.
Your meal plans are going to change every day. Be flexible with your plans. That's a big part about planning, because don't get stuck in my plan has to. The whole key of these 10 power words is avoiding thoughts of perfectionism. Your plan could be written on a post-it note or in a project management system. Just write it down. Just get it started.
Well, and a plan is basically pre making decisions. And so when you're in the moment, you don't have to make that decision. You've already made that decision. And I don't know about you, Fran, but in the heat of the day of doing a whole bunch of things, because it's a real thing to have decision fatigue. And when I don't have to make a decision on what I'm going to wear or what I'm going to eat and all of just silly things, it makes life easier when I have to make bigger decisions. And so a plan is simply pre making decisions so it makes things easier in the day, and then you can shift and adjust your plan, of course, but you already made those decisions. Now it doesn't mean that you can't adjust those decisions, but it sure does make creating habits a lot easier.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
I am so glad that everyone stayed in here listening today, and we hope that you're inspired by today's episode to take action. What is the first power P word that you're going to take action on today? Fran, do you have any final words?
To start where you are and just be in the moment and figure out what is the right best next step for you, and know that wherever you are is where you're supposed to be.
Exactly. Remember, just like what Fran was saying, every successful journey begins with that first step. Don't let the start stop you from pursuing your dreams and creating the business and life you desire. Until next time, live full, work fun,